Welcome to the NC Spin After Spin, video content available only on our website. Recently, the grades were released for individual schools in our state. About 6% of them received A's, 6% F's, and 70% scored C or better. We want to ask our panel to comment on these scores and tell us what this means about public education. Give us your reactions. Rufus, we'll start with you.
Well, first of all, the people that commissioned that study don't like the idea of testing. Well, this is a test I found very uneducational, very unscientific, and all it showed was that some schools are richer in money and resources and others are poor.
Chris, what was your reaction?
I don't disagree with that. I think it was 97% of the schools that received a D have more than 50% free and reduced lunch kids, 100% of the schools that received an F. This was predictable, and my frustration about that is twofold. One is we knew it was predictable because of the flawed formula. 80% is on achievement, current student achievement, not only 20% is growth, so no matter how well a really poor school does, they're not going to get a high grade the first or second year. And the second thing is now we've slapped an F on the door of a bunch of schools where teachers are working really hard and they have a lot of poor kids coming in the door. What are we going to do to help them? That's not part of the plan. I want to know how to fix it. And I said, too, there's one more. The state of Virginia, a Republican General Assembly, the state Senate recently approved a bill to do away with this system because so many schools in Virginia are being stigmatized.
Wow. John, what was your reaction?
I like the letter grades compared to the previous system, which was just utterly useless. Schools of excellence, schools of distinction, schools of progress, schools of no recognition, schools of this and schools of that was meaningless. So letter grades are useful, but then you can debate the formula. Chris brings up the problem of the false negative. You see a school that's getting an F, but it doesn't really tell you what you think it tells you about the ability of the school to perform. But you also get false positives. There are schools that got A's that aren't necessarily good schools. They just have affluent kids going to them. So they're being treated as successful schools, even though they might not be delivering much growth. And there indeed could be some D schools or maybe even some F schools that if you change the formula would be a C or a B minus.
Becky, your reaction?
I think it's a good start. I think there is value in putting measures in place of how we're doing, how specific schools are doing for parents, for businesses, for a lot of reasons, to be able to identify where those problems are and to go in and put the resources in to fix those things. You know, this dancing around it, like John mentioned, these names and classifications that don't really mean anything. We need to fix our schools. We need to ensure that every school is teaching those children in that school to the best that they can possibly be done, and every child has an opportunity, and I think this is a good start. There's things that need to be looked at. I don't think that the criteria that is in place is the end-all and the be-all. I think that there's a lot of other factors involved in that, and I think it's a good start and a good progress.
Well, thank you for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.